I'm trying this a little bit different setup. I'm not really sure if my shirt is blending too much into the walls, if this thing is annoying. I don't know, but we are going to give this a try. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing you the first update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project Pan. This project was originally created by Alexy, who I'll have linked down below, though they aren't posting on their channel anymore. Also, I am using the prompts by Lainey. I'll also have Lainey and the list of prompts all linked down below as well. I am pleased to say that we are going to be rolling out one shadow this month, which does mean that we get to roll in something new. So I'm going to start by going through the shadow we hit pan on, then I'll talk about the ones that will be remaining in this project before we move into what we'll be rolling in shadow wise. Then we'll jump over to my monthly focus palette and the monthly focus palette that we'll be rolling in. But let's start with the shadow I did manage to hit pan on. So for the prompt, a shadow you want to pan, we were working on a shadow from this OXX Mocha Shadows palette. Specifically this one down here. Let me bring that a bit closer for you. Just there, number 12. As you can see, there is now a pan in there, and I actually only used it 8 times. I will put over here a picture of what it looked like when it rolled in and a picture of what it looks like now. 8 uses is definitely not very many, but I am super pleased to have hit pan on a cream shadow and to have this shadow rolling out of this project. But then onto the shadows we're still going to be working on. For the random color generator, I got a green shade. We've been working on a shadow from the Fruity Pebbles palette by iHeart Revolution. And specifically, we've been working on this shadow up here, which is called Pebbles. I'll bring that through a little bit closer, just like that. And once again, I will put a picture of what it looked like when it was rolled in and a picture of what it looks like now. As you can see, there is some scuffing, but there isn't much of a dip. And you can still see the embossed spoon. I have only used this 4 times since rolling it in, and we definitely have a long ways to go. Then for the prompt, remind you of winter, we pulled out this Essence Hello New York shadow palette. And specifically, we've been working on this shadow down here. I have just realized I haven't been giving you swatches. That's okay, I'll put a swatch picture in at the end. But we've been working on this blue shadow here, and by working on it, I have only used it once. So we are gonna have the befores and the afters over here, but really one use, you're not going to have much of a difference. So this one is going to be in for the long haul. And last but not least, for the prompt starts with the letter I, we pulled in the BH Cosmetics 80s Remix palette, and specifically we're working on, this yellow shade down here, which is called In the Groove. Let me show you like that. As you can see, when I hold it like this, there is a slight dip in there because I have used it 6 times since rolling into this project. Once again, we'll have the befores and the afters over here. Out of the shadows still remaining in this project, this is the one I have got the most use out of, specifically because I do use it in my inner corner, which then means that it's more of a precise application of shadow, hence why we're starting to form a dip. This is a very, very bright shadow and I have been enjoying it. So with one shadow out, the time has come for us to look at what we're going to be rolling in. As you know, I do use the Tiny Decisions app. You'll see that coming up over here. As I film on my phone, I have pre-selected this shadow, but we are going to watch it here together. And as you can see, I got the Prompt Brown Shimmer. So I already have a brown shimmer in my Pan More with Feeling project pan, which I'll have linked up in the cards and down in the description. So I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with this, and I had pulled out a couple potential options, including another shadow in the same palette I'm utilizing in Pan More with Feeling. But I've actually decided to continue in with this OXX Mocha Shadows palette, and specifically we are going to be going in to shadow 1, which is, my hand will have to swap over, this one over here. It has been used once or twice, so there is a slight scuffing, a slight mark of usage on here, but other than that, we haven't really gone deep in it. I will put a close-up of what it looks like over here. But let me give you a quick swatch. So that is it right there. It is probably looking more bronze than brown, but I feel like it definitely fits within that brown category, and I'm selecting it as a brown shimmer. Considering that it only took me 8 uses to hit pan on this, though I do use this in a very different way, I am hoping that that will mean I won't have to use this one too many times and we'll be able to roll it out in a month or two. But that is the shadow we will be rolling in. Before we roll into our monthly focus palette, I will put up on the screen what my current color story looks like. It is definitely quite colorful, and I would also say that it's pretty balanced. I have 2 shimmers and 2 mattes on here, and I am looking forward to incorporating these shadows into a lot of different looks. But now it is time to review my current monthly focus palette and to roll in a new one. So if you watch my introduction, which I will have linked up in the cards, and I'll have a playlist for this full playlist down in the description, I had rolled in this Juvia's Place, the Bronzed Rustic palette, and it is in fact the shadows I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is what this palette looks like, and my goal for my monthly focus palette is to create 4 unique looks using said palette. I have done that, and I've also no plan left behind this palette, so all shadows have been used at least once. In a minute, I'm going to pull up on the screen a photo of this palette as well as the looks I have created, and we're going to go through what shadows I used for each look. Let me know down in the comments if you like this format or if there is additional information I am not including that you would like to see. But let's jump straight into it. Unfortunately, these shadows don't have names, so I am going to be calling them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, running from left to right, top to bottom. So the first look, which I created on the 9th of January, I used shadow 2, shadow 4, shadow 5, and shadow 6. So this one was much more of a brown focus shadow with a pop of that orangey, peachy red color. Then on the 16th of the 1st, I wanted to make sure I touched on the 2 shadows I hadn't used in my first look. So I used shadow 1, shadow 3, Shadow 4, and Shadow 5. This one definitely did have a slightly different feel than the first one, but considering there are only 6 shadows in this palette and overall they have a very similar color story, there is only so much you can do with it. Then on the 25th of January, we used 1, 2, 3, and 5. I decided to cut the browns out of this look and really focus in on those pops of color with the shimmers. I do enjoy these shimmers, however, overall they do kind of merge together. The tone of the color is very similar, which does mean they can be used quite well interchangeably, but it makes it harder when trying to create a inner corner highlight. And last but not least, which is the look I am wearing today, which is on the 30th of January, I used shadows 1, 2, 5, and 6. Once again, I focused in on those pops of color. I will note that Shadow 5 was actually used for every single look, and if you look closely at the shadow, you can actually see more of a scuffing on this one, and you can kind of tell that it has been used more so than the others. But that was my January focus palette. I really enjoyed using these shadows. I enjoyed the looks I created, but there is a limitation to this palette. It is rather one-dimensional, and even with the deeper brown, there isn't much tonal difference in the shadows. They are very mid-tone, meaning that it's harder to create definition, as you can see on my eyes today. It'd probably be hard for you to tell that this is in my outer corner while this is on my inner crease. I don't regret having this palette in my collection, and I really did like the Juvia's Place formula and will continue to use this when I can. But for now, this will be going back into my makeup drawer. And now it is time for me to roll for my next palette. Once again, I use the Tiny Decisions app, and I have all my palettes currently in this app, except for those that are probably very new to my collection. And when I rolled, I was a bit surprised to land on the BH Cosmetics 80s Remix Dance Palette. This is actually already in this project for the prompt shadow that starts with I. It is in fact a very, very colorful palette, and I'm really excited to use this as my monthly focus palette. Considering there are 15 shadows in this palette, I'm hesitant to think that I'm going to no pan left behind it for this month, but I'm very excited to be able to create some very bright, vibrant looks. And obviously we are still going to be focusing heavily on In the Groove as part of the eyeshadow portion of this project. At this point, I'm hesitant to suggest that we will hit goal on any specific shadows next month, but currently I am happy to continue plodding along. But until next time, I'm Verity. This was my first update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows, and now to the outro.